Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is Josie's Point of View, where we focus on human interest stories from the Carolinas and beyond. Today's Sunday and it's March the 31st, 2024. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you're new to my channel, I want to thank you so much for stopping by. I hope you find the information here to be informative. And if you're a returning viewer, by all means, thank you for coming back. You know, I always say the tide changes so frequently here on these YouTube streets. So you always have to acknowledge where your support comes from. And I want you to know I sincerely thank you for your support. Feel free to like and to share this video. And don't forget to subscribe. And our story today comes from Fort Liberty here in North Carolina. Take a look at the headline. And it reads, Fort Liberty captain gets 20 years for child sex crimes. I'll provide you with a summary here, and as always, I'll place links to a few of the full articles in the description box. This is a very disturbing case regarding the misconduct of an Army officer, but it also highlights the way negotiated plea agreements can sometimes result in a sexual assault victim being denied due justice. And sometimes it just seems as if they're being re-victimized all over again. And then sometimes there's a shining light, like you see in this video, and that's why it's entitled simply Justice Delayed, but Definitely Not Denied. And our focus today is on 46-year-old Army Captain Lamario Dupree Thomas, a medical service officer working in patient administration at the Dental Command on Fort Liberty here in North Carolina. And keep in mind, Fort Liberty, former Fort Bragg, and he was at the Dental Command. Captain Thomas enlisted in the Army in 1996 and was commissioned into the Medical Service Corps in 2009. Earlier this month, I believe it was around the first week of March, we learned that a court martial on Fort Liberty had found Captain Thomas guilty of the sexual assault of a child. But this was not his first conviction, and it also was not his first assault of a child. The fact of this case are a bit complicated. I had to spend a lot of time rereading over and over to make sure it was clear in my mind. So please bear with me as I share the details with you. My objective is to review the specifics pertaining to the first arrest and conviction before speaking on the second. And this is a newspaper report about the way it all got started. The Daily Record reported in 2018 that Harnett County Sheriff's Office officials said Thomas was arrested after a family member discovered a video on a cell phone. Captain Thomas was arrested July the 5th, the same day the video was discovered, and he was arrested on one count each of statutory RAPE of a defendant over the age of 6, sex offense in a parental role, which means he was acting as a parent or guardian, and indecent liberties with a child. He was taken to the Harnett County Detention Center and jailed under a $100,000 bond. And here's further clarification on the charges. There are 2 pages. Here's the first one. Again, it mentions July the 5th, 2018, the arrest. And look at the charges. Clarification, statutory RAPE of a child, 6 years old or younger, indecent liberties with a child. Look at the time frame between April the 13th, 2013 to July the 5th, 2018. That's over 5 years. And sexual battery, that's the first page. And the second sheet says it further alleges that between June the 1st, 2018 and July the 5th, 2018, Thomas sexually assaulted a person who was sleeping or unconscious at the time, and that he committed another sexual assault between May the 22nd, 2018 and July the 15th, 2018. There's a whole lot of sexual assault charges, but look at the last day, July the 15th. I think that's kind of not actually correct because he was locked up on July the 5th. So maybe they meant to say from May the 22nd, 2018 until July the 5th, 2018, because July the 15th, he was already in custody. And despite all those horrible accusations and those horrible charges, 5 years later, now it's November of 2022, and here is the plea agreement. And it says all the charges except the sexual battery charge to which Thomas pled guilty were dismissed November 29, according to the Harnett County Court records. And I'm just kind of shocked. I am simply shocked that all of those charges, he was allowed a plea agreement. But it gets even worse. And the punishment was just as shocking, just as offensive as the plea agreement. Here is his punishment. He must register as a sex offender, 14-month probation. Appalling, unbelievable, but that's his sentence. 14 months probation. He must register as a sex offender. That is it. So let's wrap up the first set of charges, the plea agreement, and the sentence. On December the 2nd, Thomas registered as a sex offender with North Carolina Sex Offender Registry after his conviction and the sentence that he was assigned, 14-month probation. He was now on probation, and he now had fulfilled the requirement, which was to register as a sex offender. That was all he was required to do. But the military had been paying attention to this case. It took a very long time, from 2018 to 2022, talking about over 5 years, but nonetheless, they had been paying attention. And once that civilian case had been closed out and Thomas registered as a sex offender, in less than 3 weeks, you have the second set of charges. And exactly 20 days after he had registered as a sex offender, as a requirement for his civilian case, Fort Bragg initiated court-martial proceedings against him. That was done December 22nd, 2022. And here are the charges. The charge sheet filed December 22nd alleges that between April 13, 2013 and April 13, 2015, 2 years now, Thomas sexually assaulted a child between the age of 12 and 16 in Springlet here in North Carolina. Now, this is a different assault. It's not one that he had been charged with in the civilian courts. And on February 22nd, 2023, he was arraigned. Based on those 2022 charges, he was charged with 2 counts each of RAPE and sexual assault of a child, and RAPE or sexual assault, and 1 count of conduct unbecoming an officer. And this is from the military docket. And this past February, I'm talking about February 2024, he had his formal court-martial hearing where he stood to face the charges, as previously mentioned. Now, the court-martial was conducted by a group of senior military officials, and the hearing was held on the courthouse there at Fort Liberty. I believe the dates I saw was February 19th to 23rd. That's when the court-martial took place. And after a decision had been reached, a representative for the 18th Airborne Corps, Colonel Mary Hicks, provided the media with an update, and this is what she said. Despite his not guilty plea, a military panel convicted Thomas last week of 2 counts of sexual assault of a child and 1 count of sexual assault of someone older than 16 and 1 count of conduct unbecoming an officer. And essentially, the decision of that court-martial panel members was that Thomas was unfit for military service and that he had to go. He had to go to prison first, and then he had to go as far away as possible. The panel sentenced him to total forfeiture of all pay and allowances, a reprimand, 20 years of confinement, and a dismissal from the military. And I say good riddance. Another bad apple has been washed out of the system, which it could have been done sooner before so many were victimized. And yet I wonder whether there's still other victims out there who have yet to come forward. We probably will never know. But this is another embarrassing story for Fort Liberty, but I give them credit for doing the right thing and sending the former Army captain to prison for 2 decades, a very long time, and I hope he has to spend every day of those 2 decades in prison. And I hope Harnett County look at this and take notice. All they did was give him a slap on the wrist, but Fort Liberty provided justice for his victims. That's all I have for you right now. Feel free to leave me a comment below and let me know what you think about this video. And of course, feel free to like it and to share it. And if you haven't done so already, I want to invite you to subscribe to my channel by clicking on that red subscribe button. It's on the bottom right-hand corner of your screen. And if you click on the bell that looks just like this one, that's the notification bell. If you click on that notification bell, you'll be the first to know whenever a new video is uploaded. I thank you for watching, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.